Well, at that time, racial segregation was at its utmost, and we had been born in an era of racial segregation, so we knew nothing else. It was commonly accepted that the blacks were inferior, and it all depended on the person or persons with whom you were working or for whom you were working. Some of them, even though they had been born in the segregated areas, the white versus the black, some of them were better. Not all of them were mean, and they just did what was commonly accepted. But deep down inside, I think they knew that everybody was created equal, but they had to conform to the conditions that were acceptable by society at that time. I only had one or two instances in my whole time that I experienced considerable difficulty. I went to work for a lady, and I was always one who was a little independent. So the lady for whom I worked, she worked, but she had a mother. And the mother came one day while I was down on my knees scrubbing the floor, and she stood over me, giving me orders of how to scrub the floor. So rather than argue with her, I just got up, I left the pail and the water and everything and walked out. And I went home, I told my cousin I'm not going to work for her anymore. I told my cousin what she had done. So that Saturday, my cousin said, we'll go out and have her pay you for the 2 or 3 days that you worked. And when I went out there, the mother said, I'm not going to pay her because I don't know what she stole. And that was a determining influence upon me. That was the only time that I was really, really unhappy because I had not stolen anything. And that remains today in my heart and my mind. I will never forget it. I don't know what happened to them. And I didn't care. I never wanted to see them again. I wanted Obama to win. And I knew that it was time, not time for a black person, but for a person who was the best for the country, regardless of who it was, sky blue, pink, or gold. I wanted the person who was best for the country. But I was excited because that person was turning out to be Obama. And I prayed every night that if he were elected, I wanted the Lord to keep him safe, because I know, like they killed Martin Luther King and all that, that if he were elected, there would be some person who would threaten him, threaten his life. He has to be securely guarded day and night, because there are, even though the election was a fair election, we know that there were black Republicans who probably crossed over and voted Democratically. Politics failed right there, because had I been Republican, I would have switched myself, because I knew that this was our moment and the only time in history that this has ever happened. But they say the Lord takes care of babies and fools. But I knew that something had to give. And I knew that he was ready, but I feared for him, even though I wanted him to win. I prayed, and well, it just came to happen. So I was by my television all day until the results started coming in, and I was filled with emotion, almost to tears, because I knew I'm 89. I might not even get to see the next election, but I have this. This is present, and I'm praying for him and for his family. And if there's anything in this area of this level that I can do to make his period peaceful and effective, I'm going to do it, whatever. I'm going to forget race, color, creed, and everything, and do whatever I can to make this tenure one of which we will all be proud, you know.